one of you.
I want you to deal with your problems by becoming rich.
This is my home. They're gonna need a wrecking ball to take me out of here.
All right, guys, we're coming into KASPA on the machine, and we're looking currently at the weekly. So on the weekly itself, we do have pretty strong support here at 15 cents. Now there isn't a ton of data on this. However, you know, the 10 is coming down, still above the plus 100. The 20 is still well above the plus 100. So this will be strong support at that 15. So let's go into the 3-day. On the 3-day itself, we do have that strong support at 15 cents. And then on the 50 support here as well, which is Aqua at 14.6. If we look at the 50, it's well above, as is the 20. Now that 10 is starting to come into the range. So price is going to want to come back down to this green moving average at 13.3. But again, like I said, this will act as pretty strong support. Now what we might see is like a little wick coming down, grabbing that 10, and then see if we can push up and continue in the upward direction. But again, this is the 3-day, so we'll have to wait for the next 3-day open. On the daily itself, we did come down and hit that 10. We can see that the 10 did come into the range here. Once it came into the range on February 20th, we had that push down. It came in, pretty much already hit that target. And then we do have resistance above us at the 17.5. So if we kind of look at the quasi, that 20 did come in below the plus 100. So this is acting as resistance. And then we have the possible target down here at 14.4. Now we do have very strong support on the 200, the 50, and the 100. So this whole little range area here is pretty high support. So likely come down to this yellow. We'll hit that 20 here. So likely come down, hit that 20, and then hopefully we can bounce back up and take out the previous high at this 18.9. But again, as price does come down, then we can reevaluate as it occurs. But again, pretty strong support on these three, even though it doesn't want to come down to that 20 white down here. We'll take a look at the 4-hour. So on the 4-hour itself, we do have that 10 moving back up, which we've already kind of came down, found a little bit of support off that 50, and then we came back up to grab that 10. The 20 never actually left the range, so that's still an open basically free to roam anywhere in between the white band here. But we do have resistance above us on that 20 here, so that's the 17.3. So basically coming up into that white, finding resistance. We'll see if it can try to pop up into this white resistance, but it looks like it's probably going to come down a little bit more. So this is the possible target at the 14.7, but as of right now we do have that 200 support. Once this 200 support kind of gives in, then we can probably see it come down. It'll probably bounce back up and then down into there. Now there is the possibility that we do kind of push up, try to get out of this resistance area, but we do have the other resistance level here, which we likely come down before we get out of this one. So I can see it coming out of the yellow, but not above that white, and then coming back down to the possible target down here. And then we'll see if that 200 does come into that range. So, but as of right now, as long as this 10 is pushing up with that 20, then we are kind of a bit bullish, and likely will come up into that yellow resistance, and we'll see if we can get above it from there. And then we'll see where that 10 is sitting as the new 4-hour forms in another hour and 44 minutes. I'll take a quick look at the Nexus as well on the higher time frames. Now we don't actually have a true yearly yet, just because of how new this coin is, but we do have a new quarterly. As for the quarterly, we pushed above the previous month high, 3-month high, and then up into that R1, finding resistance at the midpoint between the R1 and the R2. So we'll see if we can break below, likely come down to that previous 3-month high, see if we find support, or at least into this little block range here, and then find support. And then if we do find support, we can push higher, or we kind of collapse and come back into this quarterly area. Same thing on the monthly. Monthly is pretty bullish, and we did kind of push straight up into the monthly R3. Now we do have that weekly. I'll come into a smaller time frame. So we do have this weekly down here below us, and with a possible short there still of let's just say 5% to a possible 7%. So that is still in play, and that would take us to that 15.6, 15.5 that I was talking about earlier on the machine. Now, if it does fall through that 15.2, then we'll come down into this weekly S1, and then possibly to come back into this actual pivot here. But as of right now, let's just worry about this weekly and falling through the weekly at 15.2, because if it does come into here, finds support, then it could easily bounce up and try and take out the previous week high on the next weekly. So that's pretty much all I got for CAS. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.